So when we give a gift of kindness to someone, we give it freely, we give it openly. We give something unhealed in our mind to Holy Spirit. We give it freely. We open our hand that had been held around it. And we release it completely. If you can, don't grab back onto it. Let it stay free. Let it stay in Holy Spirit's hands. Too often we give something to Holy Spirit for healing, and we find ourselves grabbing onto it again. Maybe this time you just let it go and don't take it back. To really, really, really give it over. You are worthy of that. You can decide for love, for peace, for open-heartedness. You really can. And there's this choir of gratitude singing from the angels for this choice that you're making. So much happiness from heaven. Because this choice for peace is a homecoming. This choice to release that old heavy pattern is a remembering and a reclaiming of who you are. Do not go back down that thorny road. You've traveled on it for far too long. The open meadow lies ahead of you. Lovingly calling you to return home. It's actually natural to choose what you truly are. It's natural to want what you've always been. So let yourself do what's natural. So again, it's natural to be loving. It's natural to release old hurts. It's unnatural to hold on to them. But we're becoming more and more natural.
I mean, natural means the actualization, the realization that you're not the body. Jesus explains in the Course that all the time the mind keeps asking, what am I? What am I? And there is something answering. The spirit always answers. You are spirit, but the ego also wants to answer. And it says you are many, many things. And it definitely establishes that you're a body. That's the ego's job. And with the body, with that identification comes all the patterns. And there seems to be different sets of patterns in each person. There was a time when the Holy Spirit kept prompting me to look at my patterns every day, every hour, every minute almost. I heard it in my mind. Jenny, look at your patterns. Jenny, look at your patterns. It kept coming. I think that was 11 or 12 years ago now. And so I did. I looked at how I interpreted situations, what I concluded, what I believed. Because all this was very limiting. My conclusions, my interpretations, my beliefs felt like a straitjacket. So the Holy Spirit really conveyed to me how important it was to release patterns. Because they were all limiting. And the ultimate pattern is the belief you're the body. It's like the body is like a bundle of patterns, and you can look at many of them, or all of them. And that's how you look at that belief that you are the body. He explains something with in the Course around the belief. Like when you believe that you're sick or limited, there is a prayer you can say. And it's, I'm not a body and my mind cannot attack. And so I cannot be sick. I cannot be limited because my mind cannot attack. So with all limiting beliefs, there is a belief that your mind can attack. And he's saying that's not true. You believe you can attack. You believe your mind can attack. And that's how you believe you're a body. And that's how limitations are perceived and experienced. But he says you can't attack. It's not true. It's illusion. It's what the dream is. The dream is a dream of attack. It's very freeing to realize that your mind cannot attack. It's an error in thinking. Think you can attack. Think you can be limited. So we want to put all patterns on the shelf. Give them up, give them over. Question them, seeing them first. And all the conclusions, the limiting conclusions. And it's not that you conclude things based on what you perceive in the world. Conclusions come first, and then the perception. But with the ego, it's the reversed way. The ego thinks because of certain situations, you're limited. Now there is a belief in limitation in the mind. Not coming from circumstances. There is a powerful section in the course called Reversing Effect and Cause. It explains it really well there. A helpful read. I opened up the course to Teaching for Truth, chapter 14, the conditions of learning. If you are blessed and don't know it, you need to learn it must be so. You can learn to bless and cannot give what you have not. If then you offer blessing, it must have come first to yourself. So in the deceived, screwed up mind, we miss that point that we have actually received a blessing of freedom. We forgot such an important gift. And if you have and give and are everything, and all this has been denied, your thought system is closed off and wholly separated from the truth. This is an insane world, and do not underestimate the extent of its insanity. There is no area of your perception that it has not touched, and your dream is sacred to you. That is why God placed the Holy Spirit in you, where you placed the dream. That's an interesting line. God placed the Holy Spirit in you, where you placed the dream. So in a sense, or in the truth, the Holy Spirit is where the dream is. That's why we have to look at it. We have to take a close look at what we're dreaming to find the Holy Spirit. That's why he says you don't have to seek for love. That's what you are, but you have to seek all the obstacles that you have put up against love. Seeing is always outward. Were your thoughts wholly of you, the thought system you made would be forever dark. The thoughts the mind of God's Son projects or extends have all the power that he gives to them. The thoughts he shares with God are beyond his belief, but those he made are his beliefs. And it is these and not the truth that he has chosen to defend and love. They will not be taken from him, but they can be given up by him. For the source of their undoing is in him. Any direction that would lead you where the Holy Spirit leads you not goes nowhere. It's the same as he says, all the roadways of the world lead to death. You were created only to create, neither to see nor do. You were created to create and not to see with your eyes or do things with the body. We want to learn this, right? We want to know what it is like to create instead of living in time.
Living in time.
Instead of being a walking dead. Sleepwalker. And it's quite an exciting journey because we get to discover how we are the dreamer of this dream. And that's the whole point. To come to the experience that you're the dreamer of the dream, not a victim to the dream. That's an amazing discovery. But we do need to look at the ego to discover that. We need to go through the passage of being the hero of the dream. And let go of the hero of the dream. The hero of the dream is the ego. It's the defensiveness in the persona, the little I. And we can, because we do have this mighty help, this source inside. Where we laid the dream, God laid the Holy Spirit. When I was young, I was part of a church, and when I discovered there is a Holy Spirit, when I read the Bible or when I heard, I thought, Holy Spirit, that sounds so good. The Holy Spirit. It sounded like something mighty, something unseen, untouchable, but yet if it's holy, I realize it must be everywhere. It must be And I also learned it's the communication link between the human and God. And I also thought that's really practical. I started communing, I started praying a lot and using this Holy Spirit as a help, as a resource, as a healing inside. And that's what we need. The deceived mind is very lost. And as you start to wake up, you get less and less lost. But still, there can be hooks, there can be holds that the ego has on you. Beliefs, limiting beliefs, beliefs around what other people think, beliefs that you can't follow your heart, even beliefs you don't have enough of something. And Jesus says this is an idol, believing you don't have enough. Doesn't matter what it is, not enough money, not enough support, not enough sleep. Because also he says the ego thinks something should always be different. You can see how those two go together. I don't have enough. I believe something should be different for me to be happy. And he says, you have cause for freedom now. Future release is not your just reward because you have cause for freedom now. So there must be something beyond perception. So through the forgiveness of the world of perception, no matter what it looks like, the ego always says your situation is impossible. You know, that's how the ego works. If something would be different, and if you would have what others have, you would be happy. But it says you have cause for freedom now. You've just misunderstood something here. So it is to go within and look at those layers that make up the body, make up this persona, this seeming existence. I think that's why he has those powerful lessons of I am not the body. You know, it's like taking all at once, releasing it all at once. But often we need to look at it step by step, look at each pattern, discover each belief, release them one by one. But yeah, usually there can be a shift and you realize you can let go of the whole bouquet of beliefs at once. The spirit likes that kind of bouquet. Take it from you. We want to just shift from wrong mind to right mind. And there is a power in the mind. It says you can control the direction of your thinking. You can. And you must. It's helpful use of time to practice changing the direction of your thinking if your thinking is unhelpful. if it makes you depressed or limited. That's all you can change. It says, try not to change the world. Try not to change the form. Try rather to change your mind about the world. And he helps with that. The Holy Spirit helps us with that shift. The Holy Spirit is that shift. Many beautiful lines here. Any direction that would lead you where the Holy Spirit leads you not goes nowhere. Anything you deny that he knows to be true, you have denied yourself, and he must therefore teach you not to deny it. That's so loving. He says then, you have set yourself the task of sharing what cannot be shared. And while you think it possible to learn to do this, you will not believe all that is possible to learn to do. So when we preoccupy our mind with what we can't really do, we miss out on what we really can do. So I think this means the Holy Spirit needs to show you your world. He needs to show you first. And it means nothing before he can start to teach you truly. Ah, this was just the chapter before the happy learner. Nice. The Holy Spirit needs a happy learner in whom his mission can be happily accomplished. You who are steadfastly devoted to misery must first recognize that you're miserable and not happy. The Holy Spirit cannot teach without this contrast, for you believe that misery is happiness. That's quite twisted. Yeah, why would we seek misery if we didn't believe it would give us something? The Holy Spirit, seeing where you are, but knowing you are elsewhere, begins his lesson in simplicity with the fundamental teaching that truth is true. This is the hardest lesson you will ever learn, and in the end, the only one. The truth is true. It's the hardest lesson. Yeah. Because there is such resistance. That's all, it's not really hard to learn, but there's resistance to seeing that, to accepting that. Simplicity is very difficult for twisted minds. Yeah, you may enjoy reading this yourselves. It's very helpful. Yeah, we can keep thanking God, thanking Holy Spirit that there is a way out. The Course is a roadmap. The Holy Spirit's teaching is a roadmap. And all the help given. So we can open up the room and see if there are any prayers here to be shared. Any thoughts or questions or requests for healing. Who has something on their heart?
Hello.
Hi.
Sorry, I forgot I need to unmute myself. First, thank you so much for listening to me. last Monday, our last session that I was there. And this is today, and it's everything that you share already. Is so apropos, it's right on, like it's so meaningful. I really, my goal is peace, and I want to awake. This time around, whenever there is such a fear that come up, I want to make sure that I handle it the proper way to flush it, to move it from my perception and being healed. Okay, so what happened on Monday, the situation with my computer, somebody from Apple was helping me for 3 hours, and I tried to recollect afterwards what was going on inside of me. And it was always this fear so intense that I cannot, it's the only way I can express this. It's a ball of fire here. I got huge fear, and it's not to put it down. Am I right?
Yeah, you're right. But you're worthy to move through it. When it's so direct, and the fear is so direct. And this is why, the grace of God, the Holy Spirit is all you need, and it is given. But in that fear, you don't believe that, you don't see that, you don't find that. So you're actually you're right there in the core of separation.
Okay, when I feel this fear, I'm right in the ego. There is no God. Like, when this is happening, I do not believe there's God because I feel this way.
Yeah.
All right. So
Yes.
This is why I feel so fearful, because I really feel that I'm disconnected from God.
Yeah.
And there is no help.
Well, there is, because there is still a part of you. There is a core. There is a piece that is still connected to the truth, even though it's obscure. And I'd say when you're in that state, you don't want to be in that state. So you have this prayer. You have this intense prayer to find your way, And the Holy Spirit is there, seeing it, hearing it, feeling it, answering it.
Okay, but right now, I went through the motion, if we can call it this way, and I did my forgiveness, I did my prayer. So now it's like, okay, Patricia, I'll leave it alone. Like it will be clear. There's nothing to do now. Am I right?
When it's truly clear, it's clear. Yeah. Yeah. There's nothing more to do. But maybe it sounds like you're afraid that it would come back. Like,
Yeah.
have I done enough?
Yeah. But if perhaps this is what my question is, I want to get rid of the fear. Okay. But to what I understand, and we cannot get rid of the fear. We have to allow it to be. And then it just, the Holy Spirit does whatever he does. I don't know. And sooner or later, the fear is gone. Like, you don't experience that fear.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's not really the situation, Next time or another time in another experience, you may have holy encounter with the Apple guys. You may not understand how you could be so fearful, because it's not really the situation, but the situation is used to flush up something very deep, to flush up the belief in separation.
Okay.
That's all it is. It's the belief in separation that you are in when you feel that fear. And it seems like different situations trigger it, maybe computer breakdown, But I see it more like these are gateways for healing and forgiveness that the mind is using to face the belief in separation. And he has this prayer, you know, when you are in that fear, says you should pray this or say this, know first that this is fear. Like, see the fear, acknowledge, oh, I'm fearful. And then say, I must have made a decision not to love. I must have made a decision not to love. And then decide otherwise, he says.
Yeah. Okay. So the reason why I'm so fearful, it's because I've decided that I'm not a holy child of God.
Yeah. That you're unworthy.
I'm unworthy. I'm weak. I'm not an eternal being. Well, of course, like how.
You know, he says that no one in the world think that they are worthy of consistent effort. The consistent effort of right-mindedness. So you forgot that for a moment and the fear flooded in. You thought you were not worthy to be who you are. And you decided you are who you're not. Patricia.
Yeah. I'm this bodysuit.
Well, that's, you know, what you're here to take very lightly. The bodysuit.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Can this one be used, you know, for the greatest good? But it is, I mean, it's such a deep journey of seeing the beliefs, seeing the, allowing the healing of the emotions, you know, all the hurt and pain that has been buried, you know.
Yeah.
Because you are, in truth, a very, very, very powerful mind. But it's been somehow stuck in a very small shape or a small situation that is based in beliefs. And so, yes, it takes a lot of willingness to see all the beliefs. The body is a concrete form of fear, but the body isn't who you are.
Still, the mind doesn't like to accept it, but
It will.
yeah, I know. That's the good news.
That's why you come here, steady, you know.
Yeah, that's why that's why I come here and I study this.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the good news also, you know, like the I love you so much, guys, and thank you for your precious help, your devotion, and like all together.
Thank you.
And yes, I'm worthy of love.
Yes. That's for sure. That's the truth. It's always delightful to join with you.
Hey. Who else would like to share?
Hi, Anne. Can you unmute yourself?
Yeah, it's just that feeling of unworthiness and being stuck. You mentioned, you know, like, not feeling worthy of consistent effort, because I seem to, and this is a pattern, I can see that it's a pattern where I think, yeah, I can be okay, but only for so long. And then it all seems to crash in on me, you know, just this, for me, it's this intense boredom.
Yeah. You know, you're made to extend. The mind always extends or projects, you know, And you will only feel at home when you extend, when you let Holy Spirit come through you. And so to find ways for that, you know, maybe do Facebook Live, maybe offer a Zoom session, maybe invite a course group for a meeting, you know, find ways to extend. You're an extender, not a projector, you know?
Yeah. And I'm in so much joy in the extension, but then this, it's like such a huge contrast.
Yeah.
It's so
It's
horrible.
the contrast I just read about in the beginning of The Happy Learner, you know, that contrast he describes, you know, about the misery. The Holy Spirit cannot teach without this contrast, for you believe that misery is happiness. This has so confused you that you have undertaken to learn to do what you can never do, believing that unless you learn it, you will not be happy. You don't realize that the foundation on which this most peculiar learning goal depends means absolutely nothing. So, yeah, so it is contrast, and this is what we all seem to go through when we learn that we only want to extend, we only want to be in the right mind, you know, and can feel rough and tough as you go through that contrast.
Yeah, I feel like when I'm in this place, how do I find a way to extend? Most of all, I don't really want to be here. I just don't.
Yeah, so then ask Holy Spirit, what is the next step and what to do, you know,
Yeah.
the next step. That's inspiration come through you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Nothing more to say. I just feel like there's a click that needs to take place in my mind, and it's not clicked in yet.
It will click in.
Mm-hmm.
We're with you in the prayer.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay. I think I will go to Louise first because it's the first time you're with us.
I'm really happy to be here. It's really lovely for me because this is the thing that's lit up for me really powerfully, and nothing's really been lighting up, particularly apart from doing my artwork and just the longing to dissolve, really. It is, you know, pretty strong. And I think that I wanted to speak just to say that, but also when you said, Jenny, about something about not enoughness, and something went, oh, yeah, I'm definitely worshipping at that altar. It's always been there. But at the moment, a lot has fallen away in my life, and I had to move. And I'm not, a bit like the lady that just spoke, I don't feel like I'm supposed to stay here. And I just wonder whether it's the not enoughness that's sort of got hold of the situation. So just wanted to say that, and maybe ask for, you know, some guidance. I actually heard you say something, because I've been watching these YouTube videos about you know, there being a belief and not worshipping at that altar, because that's sort of turning away. So I think now, when the not enoughness comes up, hopefully I'll start to really say, there you are, I'm not doing that anymore. Because because that was really helpful when I heard you say that before. And it was, you know, it's powerfully shifted some things for me. I think that's it. Thank you.
It's beautiful that you picked that up and that's been so helpful. And it feels really good to meet you and that you're here. And I mean, I find, you know, the natural next step for a lot of people, you know, when you come to this point of feeling finished with, you know, like you just want to expand, you just want to, you know, get out of this limitation. I find spiritual community, you know, is a very powerful next step for a lot of people right now. And we have our own little community here in Spain where we just going to start at a new place. And yeah, and we have some retreats coming up this summer. So you'd be welcome to attend a retreat or come for a stay.
That would be lovely.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
I think that would be supportive.
yeah.
Thanks for being here with us.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Then we have Lena next. I think it is.
Hi.
Hi, Lena.
Hi. Yeah, so I was at the hospital again for surgery, and I was there at 7 in the morning. I was up at 3. So they took all the EKG tests, and then I saw this huge angel in my mind, this huge white light angel. And I had no idea why or anything, it just happened. And then 11:30, the doctor came in and said, we have to cancel. We have an acute surgery. So we don't have time for you. And this was the 3rd time they canceled it for me. But also when I was thinking about the surgery, these suicide thoughts came up. And the thought that I hope I don't wake up from the anesthesia or the sleep, when they put me to sleep. I don't want to wake up.
Yeah.
Anymore.
Did you change your mind about that?
Yeah, I just didn't. I just noticed the thought came and I didn't hang on to it. But I do have those thoughts every now and then. So.
Well, I think there is another way of looking at it, and that can be your prayer. There is another way of looking at the world, of looking at this situation. You are hoping so much that the surgery would happen 3 times now.
Yeah, it's the thought came to mind to let go of the outcome.
Exactly, let go of the outcome and see it as a blessing, a lesson in trust. You know, nothing happens by chance. You know, there must be purpose. And yeah, it seems tough, but you actually get to face some death wish here, you know, and that's valuable for you to face that in your mind, to release that death wish.
I think you're doing really good, Lena.
Yeah. I went to the sea also.
Nice.
Yes, I spoke of before.
Yeah.
But I spent, my summers with when I grew up with my family there. And all these, when I saw these places where we used to be together, yeah, I started crying on the bus, you know. I couldn't stop myself.
Mm.
And, you know, people heard and looked at me, but I couldn't stop myself.
That's good. Good. These emotions came up. Mm.
There's so much loss. And
Mm.
yeah,
Well,
it
the
was,
loving memories live. The loving memories live. They're not gone.
it's difficult to think like that. And at the same time, thinking that none of it happened and it's not true. So,
Well, Jesus says that only what's loving in the dream is true. The love is real.
yeah,
You don't have to think that it's not true, real. If it's loving, it's true and real.
yeah, it made me feel like I wanted to go back to my childhood
Right.
and relive it, you know.
Mhm. And that he talks about that in the course too. When you know, this longing for home is so deep and so strong and so powerful. And he says, perhaps it is a childhood home that you believe you can't want to go back to, you know. It's not it, it's something even greater than that, something more beautiful.
Yeah, and I had memories walking on this island with my children and stuff, and now I had to walk by myself, and it was not the same experience at all.
Yeah, it sounds like you're processing a lot, you know, healing a lot of thoughts. It's good to be gentle with that and just observe what comes up. Allow it as you walk there. Maybe you go back a couple more times and be with yourself, these thoughts, because you are a powerful being, you're spirit. You're not really Lena, so you can face Lena's memories and release them, hand them over. And keep this love, you know, that you're feeling, loving. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not gone. Love can't go away.
No.
But yeah, the nostalgia, if there is nostalgia about the past, that can be handed over, you know. Because I think that comes from a fear or a feeling that the present is not good enough, you know.
Yeah, that's how it feels, actually. I mean, all I noticed was that I was walking there, I was alone, and I met all these people walking and swimming together and laughing and having fun in the sun, and not me, you know, like all the families on the boats and all the,
Well,
yeah, just hard.
all the fun and the happiness and the joy and the love that you see because it is in you. You can even say that to yourself, oh, I am having really a lot of fun here because I'm seeing these beautiful families having so much fun. You know, it's the mind. You're seeing representations of your thoughts. You're seeing symbols of your beliefs. That's all you can ever see here. So you can see it as something good in your mind, you know. It's not apart from you, it's not outside. The ego will always make a separation and say it's outside, it's different, it's not for you. But it is you, it is your mind that you're seeing.
Now it says, look how lonely you are.
Yeah,
That's what it says.
Yeah. But, you're learning to extend all the time with your thoughts to be in, this beautiful flow of your right mind, wherever you go, whoever you see, you can open up to that idea of being this extender of peace, of truth. It's big when you forgive those images of limitation. That's what's left, and you can nurture that, have holy encounters, see people as yourself.
I felt to go back, but it feels like I really can't cope somehow with.
Well, what is the alternative?
Yeah, I will go back.
Truth will be restored to you. Truth will be returned to you by your desire, as it was lost to you by your desire for something else. And this is the contrasting experience that Anne spoke about too. This contrast of feeling, the heaviness of the illusion or the misery of it. That's how you learn what you really want. So somehow the mind, goes into those places that seem a bit dark to realize what you want. And death is not a solution. That doesn't solve anything. But he says, be glad that you know where happiness abides. Be glad that you know where truth can be found. And you're very, very loved.
Yeah. Yeah, so these suicidal thoughts, I just hand them over.
Yes. Yeah, because death isn't a solution. Killing the body is not a solution. It doesn't solve anything.
No, that's what the ego says. It's the best solution.
But you can't kill the mind. The mind stays alive. The mind, is always alive. The mind is actually always awake. And you're learning that. You're unlearning the misery. You're unlearning the pain. Through looking at it. Through looking at the beliefs.
Thank you.
This world is not left by death, but by truth. And truth can be known by all those for whom the kingdom was created, and for whom it waits. Truth can be known. Yeah. This world is not left by death, but by truth. So even through death, suicide, you can't leave the world through that. This world is left by truth.
Yeah. Like the ego is using this a lot. Like whenever I was climbing the mountain on the rocks at the island and just jump, like to use every opportunity. Jump in front of a truck or, anything that comes.
Yeah, it's not such a good idea.
No, it's not what I'm doing. I'm not doing it, but that's what the ego is shouting at me, jump or do it, or like that.
Yeah.
Just do it.
I'm glad you don't listen to that.
Well, I don't listen to it in the way that I'm not doing it.
No.
What it says.
Yeah. The ego is just madness. It just has nothing good to come up with.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Go and take some guitar lessons and have some fun.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, I love you.
I love you too.
Love you a lot.
Anybody else? Laurie?
Just to put this pattern on the altar, that I kind of detached. I feel like I don't want to talk because I don't want the emotions to come. And there's beliefs like, oh, enough with the crying now.
It's not enough.
You can't cry enough. You can't cry too much. It's just the form the belief in death takes for you. The belief in death. It's the numbness, checking out. But it's good for you to share and raise up what's there.
There's some fear of there's a belief I'm not going to be able to can't cope with the feelings. And I can feel now, like, yeah, there's something in me that's just gone, like, just contain it all. And
yeah, so this is private thoughts you're describing, the private thoughts, the way your mind stays a bit separated, that you share some things, but then you're going to deal with the rest alone, and then the judgments on yourself. I mean, after, all that is private thoughts. You can just know that. And when they come, you just say, no, I don't need those thoughts, And yes, please be so welcome to share anything here and use this time and this joining. And it's okay if you cry every time.
And in between.
yeah, I just get so frustrated with myself. And then that doesn't help. That self-attack doesn't help. With these review lessons, when I read the word like Lord, I can't remember exactly, but Lord, hasten my steps to you. And I thought, right, I'm determined, I'm dedicated to these reviews. And I did that for like 4 days. And then the unworthiness comes in and it all goes. But there's still this feeling like, I'm not dedicated to there's some emotion here. So I'm going to go and take myself away. Like I haven't got time for it, or there's something going on like that. But then what ends up happening is if I don't go and be with it, yesterday was just a write-off and I was just wallowing in, wasn't even processing. I was just
wallowing in pity and and all of the judgment, like the self-judgment, and there's been so much judgment on the world today and yesterday, like the world is, it like feels like it's rubbing my holiness off me, blame, and God, and I don't even know, where it started or.
So keep going, keep joining. The Holy Spirit is with you in this, even in the core of the avoidance. That's where you find the way, just to face that part of you that wants to avoid.
Yeah, a lot of avoidance. I think that's the pattern I need to. And yeah, in those 4 days when I felt really dedicated, when I am willing to really be with the feeling, like, yeah, it's uncomfortable, but there's such a release and a relief afterwards that, why am I so scared?
Yeah. You got it.
Because I had an experience where I just lay down and I was just feeling everything in the moment. And then the thought came, like, if I take me, the story of me, my problems, my emotions out, what happens? And in a whoosh, I was just like, oh, it's gone.
Yeah.
It's just like instant.
Yeah.
Gone.
That's it.
So if that can happen, when I hear things like, oh, you just got to keep allowing emotions until it's emptied out completely, then the ego wants to grab that and make it a big query.
Yeah. No, the mind can change instantaneously like that. But it's like, don't figure it out. Because the ego also wants to find the right way all the time. Wants to say, oh, is it the emotional way, or is it changing to the right mind? Yeah, it is changing to the right mind, but you can't do that if you have suppressed emotions, so you did allow it. And then you questioned, this glory character, and shifted. So, but there is no like formula, the ego wants formula. You're doing great. I'm not going to say doing it right or wrong, but you're doing it great.
Yeah. Okay, I'm done. Thank you.
Good. Okay. So yeah, if anyone wants to donate for the meeting or for our work, we have PayPal, paypal.me/Jenny and Barret. It's easy. Yeah, we're receiving donations from those who want to support also the new place we are guided to. Just good to put that out there. Thanks for joining in. Love you all.
Yeah, so much love.
Take care.